My wife and I just got back from seeing The Sound of Freedom, which is a true story based on the life of Tim Ballard. This is the no spoiler review, so if you want to see the spoiler review, click here. The main character, Tim, is a special agent for the Department of Homeland Security who put everything at risk, his family, his career, to provide freedom to others. Before going into my review, here's what Jordan Peterson has to say about it.
It's a fully fledged, high-quality production. I was particularly impressed by the cinematography. It's also extraordinarily well edited. The acting, I don't want to flatter you, but the acting is extremely high quality. It's a very realistic movie.
I definitely agree, and I've been working on a movie, The New Manna, which I think will also have a great impact when it's out. To donate and learn more, click here. Now, this is a movie from Angel Studios, so a lot of people would be like, oh, aren't they the ones that make The Chosen? Is that too preachy? First of all, this movie was not preachy in any way. There is mention of God a few times, but it doesn't go into him praying or anything like that. So if you're wondering, should I bring my family member that's not interested in faith or anything like that? I would say definitely. It doesn't go into that in depth. Very few allusions to it in the movie, and one that I don't think will turn anyone off or raise any, defenses or anything like that. It's an incredible movie, and one that I think compares to many of the action and suspense movies that I've seen that are not related to any faith. Tim is going up against a $150 billion a year industry.
$152 billion a year
correct.
Industry.
To give me an idea how big that is, Raymond, that's every sports team, professional sports team in the United States, still not $152 billion. Then add on World Cup soccer, all the big Real Madrid, still not enough. All of those as well, and then add on every 18-year-old in the United States going to Stanford University for 4 years, every 18-year-old, and that now you're talking $152 billion.
That is so sad. And in the movie, he shares that 22 million new images of children are released every year. It was so terrible to hear this, but this film did an incredible job balancing the serious nature of the film with humor and action, and really kept the story moving along well. It wasn't one where you left afterward being depressed. It was a very hopeful movie at the end and phenomenal. The action scenes were incredible. Our hearts were pumping. It was a really intense moment several times throughout the movie. And again, amidst the serious nature, it was very enjoyable. There were a lot of moments of crying that you could hear within the theater, and a great plot. It wasn't something where you could predict everything that was going to happen like a lot of movies. This one, there were twists that you weren't expecting, and it was just very suspenseful. This is a movie that deserves your full attention, and that I recommend seeing in theaters. When you're at home, you get a text, you're doing things, watching a movie, and it takes you out of the story. This was such a powerful story, and one that by being even deeper immersed in it in the theater, we were able to feel and resonate with an even greater way. So I would recommend doing that. This is not the first time I'm going to say this. One interesting element of it is we had to go to 5 different babysitters to get one that was available. That had not happened ever in the past for any other engagement. Normally it's like second or third try, if that. But fortunately at the last minute it worked out. It is worth the time to do this, to enjoy this as a couple or with your older kids if you're able to, because this is an important thing and one that we need to share. And it's a movie that I would recommend to many. I say many because I would not recommend this for children. I think this is a movie that 16-year-olds and over can see, those that are already learning about some of these sad things that happen in the world. But I think the nature of this film is not ordered to everyone. They talk about a couple different things, which I'll get into. There's a brief talk about suicide, obviously the activity of these children, and other disordered items. With that being said, parents know their children best, so I would assess each one. Maybe someone is 15 or 14 and you think that they're able to see that. You could look into that as well. I'm sure there's other reviews that go onto the depth of what is shared. From the standpoint of language, there was only 2 curse words, one at the beginning and one at the end. I have an abbreviation of it there, so it wasn't blasphemy or anything like that. There was no modesty with kids. I thought that was really great to see. They showed you just enough to know what was going to happen, but didn't go any further, which is something that is not seen and done in a lot of movies, so I really appreciated that. As far as outfits for the other people in the movie, there were obviously club scenes, so people that were, not dressed super cleanly, but it wasn't anything excessive. There was one bikini in the whole movie, so from that standpoint, it was a very clean movie overall. I would encourage parents to bring their teenagers to this, those that are 16 or older, or however they've assessed it, and to have a discussion with them afterwards, because this is a topic that needs to be discussed. This is something that shame has to come upon, right? Because so many are in this industry. They reveal at the end of the movie that the United States is one of the biggest consumers of this. And at the end of the day, this stuff impacts people, right? These photos, whatever it is, this is not someone always that has free will. A lot of them are coerced into this, and people have to know that in order to make an impact. As a Christian, I really enjoyed this movie. As I said before, it balanced everything so well. It wasn't too sad. It had great moments of reuniting, and it was just amazing to see that. And that led to a lot of the crying, as I mentioned earlier. It didn't show too much. It wasn't graphic. And Jim Caviezel had a scapular on at the end. He shared a really great message at the end of the movie. And then certain scenes, you could see it in there. So that was great to see. And in that message, he shared that it took 5 years to get this movie out. They were done filming 5 years ago, and there were so many blocks that prevented this from happening. And I think that, speaks to the nature of the topic of this movie. A lot of people don't want this to be known. A lot of people don't want this to be discussed about. It shares that in the movie as well. So this is such an important issue to be addressed in the mainstream, but often it's just shoved under the rug. And this is, from what I've seen, the first thing that can make an impact in that. So I recommend watching it. Please share this with other people. They need to see this movie. It's one that you leave the theater with like, wow, what can I do to make a difference? And how can I, fight back in a way, even on a small scale. And what was really beautiful is when we came back to the movie theater, Anne-Marie and I came out, and Dominic ran out of the theater and hugged Anne-Marie. And it was just so cute because the boy in the movie looked like Dominic, and we just kept thinking about him. Although his name was Miguel, like Michael. So I have Dominic, who he looked like, and Michael, my other son, who had that name. So it was really, really hit a chord there, and just made us, Anne-Marie said, it made me just want to hug them even tighter, to appreciate your kids, because we really need to treasure each moment. So please share this video. Please go see this movie. They have different options if you're not able to see it, that people have donated so you can go see it for free. Finally, we want to support this because there is a second Sound of Freedom in development.
Is there a sequel plan?
There's a script already. They've already done a budget on it, but obviously it's based on the success of this film. And it's not a 2, it's just the next chapter. This mission goes from Colombia to Haiti, and this one is even better than the first script.
Sound of Freedom 2, we'll be waiting.
Finally, this movie does end with a happy ending. I'm not going to go into that, but it's not one that you leave sad or depressed. It's a very hopeful ending, and one that encourages us to action. This movie is worth the time seeing in theaters. So please like this video and share it. Have a blessed day, and God love you.